Teresa Croft. So glad you could be tuned in right now. I'm very excited because we have another version of the Ministry Marketing Expert video series. As I said, I'm Teresa Croft. I'm founder of freedomtoserveguide.com. I'm a virtual ministry video assistant or expert. What that means is I like to help people like you harness the power of the internet for preaching, promotion, and profits. And I really feel like God's given me a new assignment with this video to help you and train you to be part of God's media army. As I said, this is the expert interview series, and I don't want to waste a minute. I'd like to introduce you to a powerful woman of God, who God has placed her at such a time as this. And it's Janice Johnson, known as the Ministry Marketing Mentor. Janice, welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm so excited to be here today. Thanks.
Well, you know, some people, at least maybe on my list, aren't as familiar with you. Can you give us just a background of how you became where you are right now as far as a ministry marketing mentor?
Wow. Yes. Well, I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to be a ministry marketing mentor. It actually was a long journey, Teresa. Like many of your listeners probably have experienced, I worked in a local church. I served in my local church on many ministries. For those who don't know my story, I started out serving in the evangelism ministry as a young renegade, so excited about Christ and telling other people about Christ that I really had no restrictions. I was one of those ones. I felt like, hey, I know that I'm saved. I know I'm going to heaven. If you don't want to go to heaven, hey, that's up to you. So I had nothing to lose, which was great at the time because it gave me a lot of boldness and courage to really spread the message of Christ. From there, evangelism was great, and I love it. I still do it today, but I felt like I could do more for the kingdom, so I served in other ministries at my local church. I mean, you know how it is, Teresa. Mm-hmm. If you volunteer at church and you're doing a good job, they're going to choose you to do a lot of stuff. So I worked in the new members ministry, finance committee, and it was a pretty large church. We had about 3,000 members. I trained leaders. I did personal evangelism training for weeks at a time. But that was just my work in ministry, and I enjoyed it, and I loved it. But then I prayed those prayers, and I don't know if you found yourself praying this prayer at one time, Teresa, something like, well, Lord, if there's any way that I can, do your work and still get paid, Lord, so that I won't have to spend so much time at the church and try to do my regular job. Can you make that happen? In actuality, we're praying like, Lord, can I work ministry full time and still get paid to do it?
Right.
And he heard me even though I was talking in codes. And so what he did is he blended my passion for ministry and serving others through ministry into my corporate career. And my last corporate job, I served as the director of marketing and PR for a very large company that serviced faith-based organizations and ministries. That was an awesome experience because what I was able to do is take what I did at my local church and help pastors and Christian leaders all over the world do the exact same thing. Teresa, what happened, though, is the company, we had a product that we were offering pastors and leaders, and we were offering them the way to reach more people through this particular service. Well, as I traveled, I realized that whether ministers and pastors and Christian leaders had television, whether they had internet streaming or radio, flyers, all these other mediums of reaching people, if they didn't understand the principles of expansion, none of that stuff would work.
Right.
And so I felt really disheartened by that. Now, some of the pastors, they had enough money in their budget where they could hire me on and consult me to help them use those tools effectively and teach them the principles of expansion, but many of them didn't. And so in 2007, what I decided, the Lord and me decided that what I would do is I would leave my full-time job and all the perks I had of traveling all over the world, all my travel paid for, meeting small ministries, large ministries, people of different denominations. I would leave all of that access and start what I'm doing full-time, serving pastors and Christian leaders around the world, teaching them the expansion principles so that no matter what you use, you'll be able to reach people with the message and mission of Christ. And that's what I do today.
That's awesome. This is Janice Johnson. If you're enjoying what you're watching, stay tuned for the next interview. You can check out her latest event coming up October 21st, roadtoexpansion.com.